Good evening. The regular meeting of the Richmond Board of Education will come to order. Before we start our meeting this evening, I have an opening statement. Several months ago, 4 board members attended the Michigan Association of School Boards Conference. They did share at one of our past meeting items to consider changing on our agenda, and based upon this information, we will be making some changes. 2 Saturdays ago, the board and Mr. Walmsley had a workshop, and we discussed these changes, and these are the ones that we will be implementing. We will be adding what's called RAVES, which is recognizing a valued employee and/or student. We will be adding this agenda item to our first meeting of the month, and the board will be acknowledging individuals or students within the district. The first board meeting of the month will be presentations only, and the second will have action items unless there is an emergency. We have removed the bond update from the agenda, and this will be addressed in the superintendent's update. We have moved public comments to the end of the meeting with the hope that we will have answered your questions during the meeting. There are other changes to public comments that I will address during public comments this evening. Thank you. Please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Sandy, our mission statement, please.
At Richmond Community Schools, we provide a quality education that empowers students to be successful in a global community.
Thank you. Sandy, roll call.
Okay. Margaret?
Here.
Danielle?
Here.
Angela?
Here.
Kelly?
Here.
Deb?
Here.
Candace?
Here.
And I am also here, and we have a quorum.
Thank you. I am looking for a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. I'm looking for a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Thank you. I'm looking for a second.
Second. Candace.
Candace?
Candace, yeah.
Thank you. Any discussion? Mr. Walmsley?
Yes, on the consent agenda, Melanie Campbell, who was a COVID aide at the high school, resigned just after a few days being on the job for personal reasons. And Glenda Nowak Owens, an assistant cook at the middle school, submitted her resignation. New hires, as I notified the board, Jeffrey Kenward was hired as an interim dean of students at the middle school. He will be with us through mid to end of February, the interviewing process for a new hire for a middle school dean of students. Kathleen Lemon, she has been hired. She is a social studies teacher. She will work with part of our plan for the interim science position that we have at the high school. Jessica Miller, she's a social worker. She replaced Mrs. Wachinski at the middle school. She actually began today, along with Kat Lemon. And Ryan Williams, a physical education teacher. He will be servicing the K-5 PE department, beginning on his own at the end of this week and next week, as we did some shuffling of some staff members. Some notice of appointments regarding individuals who've already been previously hired by the board, but have received positions. Mrs. Jar will be the geography B as well as the spelling B advisor. Mrs. Shagnon at the high school will take over the National Honor Society advisor. And Ms. Wallet at the middle school will take over the National Junior Honor Society advisor. I did not have any errors or anything brought to my attention regarding the special meeting, organizational meeting on the 9th, the regular meeting to follow, or the special meeting on the 14th.
Thank you. Anyone have any questions?
Yeah, can you just, with the Miss Lemon, the social studies and interim science, can you just explain what that means? You kind of said a little bit, just because I know that's been something that has been talked about.
Ms. Lemon is a certified teacher, though she is not in science, so we are going to be working in the process of locking in a science long-term sub. We have an individual we met with today who's very interested in the position, but he would be getting his certification through #Teach, which I believe at the next board meeting, we're going to do a formal presentation. So I know I gave you a little bit in an update, but we're going to do a formal presentation. We are still in the process, it should be finalized in the next day or two, of the actual science lessons until the individual that we talked to is actually a certified science teacher. But he has a degree, he is interested in he wants to be a teacher, and so #Teach is an opportunity for him. He's got a science background. So in the meantime, we will have both individuals in the classroom to support the students, as well as our third piece until the certification actually comes in for the science, which we're still finalizing.
So this Miss Lemon and this person with the science background are going to be there together? Okay.
Provide support for students.
Good news. Thank you.
Anyone else have any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next item on our agenda is Superintendent's District and Legislative Update.
All right, so as you mentioned at the beginning, a couple changes. So I'm going to start off with public comment from the last board meeting. There were several people that spoke. I'm going to give the board an update on the ones that I spoke to. First one that spoke was Mrs. Jar. So she came up and made a statement. I did send her a text message complimenting her. It was very well said and spoken, and I thank her for doing that, because it did put us in the frame of mind of what we're trying to do as an organization. Ms. Gallows spoke at public comment. I had a conversation with her on Friday after I sent out my community letter. I wanted to wait till that went out before I contacted them. I wanted to see what people had to say. We had a great conversation. She had a lot of ideas and suggestions and was very supportive. Mr. Pepper spoke about public comment. Some of the things that he had addressed were just communication. He talked a little bit about things on the website. We have made those changes. If you have not been to the website, I would encourage you to visit our website. Some of the things that he suggested, we'll try doing this from.
Bad upside down.
Any communications that he has, I put some graphics on there, enlarged the font to make it more prevalent on the website, as well as started to, after a week or so, removing the ones that are on there so it doesn't get too long. He also brought to our attention the link on the Facebook, that was 6. Did not know that, so I appreciate him for bringing that. Mrs. Churchy spoke, and I know Mrs. Michon and I met. I think we're going to talk a little bit about that. Mrs. Bass spoke at the public comment. Again, we had a very good conversation. She asked a lot of very good questions about contract language and why we can't negotiate individually with teachers and so forth. It was a great, I think it provided her some education on the public school and negotiations. She was very supportive. She appreciated the police being in our buildings. She has sent her students back to school this week, she reports. Mrs. Spears, who I see is here, we did have a conversation. I don't know necessarily if we agreed or finalized on some of the statements, but I think we had a conversation that can explain what happened there. Obviously, the science is a major concern, as well as the support for not having a permanent teacher. I think her message, she just wants stability, is one of the messages she shared with me, and I think we all do. I did try reaching out to Reverend Kim Newport. I left a message. I know she called me back, so we were playing phone tag. And the last person, there was an Ashley Rose. I looked up the phone and the Power School, what was written on there. I have not been able to communicate with her. The numbers are not correct in what was written down. Or I can't read the writing, so I don't know if I've got some otherwise than that. So that was public comment. I will talk a little bit about the bond update, which will be next. We are in the process of finalizing the bid package that will go out for the summer of 2023 work, which will be primarily the paving of the parking lot. Over the Martin Luther King holiday, new doors were installed at the high school just north of the addition. These doors were not part of the original bond and captured They, in all the drawings we looked through, they did not get picked up in the drawings, so, and they were in bad shape, so we were able to get those doors replaced, and they matched the other doors at the high school. At the elementary school, the kindergarten doors at the end of the hallway of the kindergarten wing going out to the playground were also replaced over the Martin Luther King holiday. Those doors were put in the 1996 bond, so they're nearing 30 years old, and you can only imagine how many kindergartners and first graders are running out those doors each and every day. They do take a beating, but we were able to get those replaced over the break. Some legislative updates. On Wednesday, January 18th, the Senate quickly passed a supplemental bill for the school aid fund and the general fund, primarily on party line votes. The bill makes appropriation in the last fiscal year and this one, adjusting the amounts previously appropriated. Senate Bill 8 was the school aid budget fund, which includes language of the state buying down the MIPSers, the supplemental payment. So in our budget amendment, you're going to see in February, you're going to see a significant increase in our revenue, but then you're going to see an expense that we're sending it right back to the state to buy down. It's they have to send it to the districts, and we turn around and send it back to reduce the retirement costs. Get it, Tammy? You get it in a nutshell. So we're going to get a significant increase and a significant expense. Passage of these two bills moved along. They are now heading to the House appropriation, which we expect the House to act on them this week. Governor Whitmer's State of the State address is January 25th. That's usually when she announces, or any governor announces, what their plans are and their priorities, so we'll be closely watching and monitoring for the school aid fund for what's anticipated in the coming.
Brian, can I just go back to your bond update? Are we getting to the point where we're winding down with the bond? If there's any money that's left, are we getting close to that part?
Once we send out the bid packages and we get those bids back, we will know what dollars are anticipated to be left.
Okay.
I think I've mentioned a couple times, or at least individually people have asked me, there are two major projects that if we have dollars that I would recommend the board put the dollars towards. One is the collapse of the wall at the Lee Elementary School. It's been very problematic and it doesn't always work properly. And the other is the main high school bleachers. They're almost nearly 30 years old also, and they are not, the parts are becoming harder and harder to replace. So,
and they don't open all the way? Or they don't close properly?
They don't. They take a lot to open and close. We can get them closed, we can get them open, but they don't function as they normally do, or what they originally intended to. So after this summer's project, all the bond is done from that angle. So we'll be finalizing the cost of what comes in, again, whatever the bids come in for this summer project. I know we built in, when we originally put the bond in place, we built in increases knowing that it was going to bid this year. Hopefully we built in enough dollars with the market. So,
okay, thank you.
So after this, we will be back and say, okay, we have this number of dollars left.
Okay.
County update, just the county school board meeting is tomorrow. If anybody schedule changes and they'd like to go, just let me know so I can give them a heads up so they can make sure they have a place set for you. District update, I'll start off at Lee Elementary School. The staff spent Martin Luther King Professional Development Day on January 16th looking at building assessments tied to standards so they can do a better job of measuring students' progress and meeting the standards. NWA is still going on, but initial numbers are showing that they're showing some growth, and they're very excited to see what those are going to come out as our mid-year. Attendance improved. If you recall one of the presentations, one of the focus was getting kids to school and getting to school on time. At the elementary school, it's significantly improved in December. So great job with the students and parents for getting the kids to school. Again, we still encourage you, if your child is sick, please don't bring them. You don't want to spread any germs, but if they are not sick, we want them in school. February kicks off the elementary school's Kindness Month. Students are going to receive kindness cards throughout the day and receive prizes like they do and be recognized at a school-wide assembly later in the month. Preschool formal. If you have a preschool student, the preschool formal is on February 7th. So it's, they are planning and the advertising has been put out for that, so they are looking forward to that event. At the middle school, I believe today was the spelling bee from 3 to 4 today. I do not know winners yet, so hopefully they will get you those winners. Shine Day is tomorrow. Encourage students to show their spirit. Exams for the middle school start tomorrow for 7th hour. Wednesday is 1st and 2nd hour. Thursday is 3rd and 4th hour. And Friday is 5th and 6th hours for those classes that take exams. It's also Spirit Day on Friday. Wear your favorite hat or earmuffs, and based on the weather prediction, you're probably going to need them. At the high school, I'd like to congratulate, I'll start with the exam schedules on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday at the high school. Again, 1st and 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th and 6th hour on Friday. The high school art student Scholastic Awards are in. If you saw it on Facebook, I know Mrs. Gaganek published them, but I want to recognize we had several winners. Those students who received the gold key will be advancing to the national art competition. So I'm going to read them the winners and what they received. Madison Ball received the silver key for photography. Riley Barloni received the gold key for photography, so she will go on to the national art. Gabe Rocket received a silver key for photography. Ava Conrad received honorable mention for photography. Madeline Foss received honorable mention for drawing and illustration. Aiden Kowalski received silver key for painting. Olivia McIntyre received silver key for photography. Priscilla Mutton Rutledge received gold key for photography, silver key for digital art, silver key for digital art, honorable mention for photography, and honorable mention for second photography. Emma Peters received gold key for digital art twice. Again, those students are going on to the national art competition. The College of Creative Studies just also announced that any of our Gold Key Scholarship winners will receive a $2,000 scholarship, $500 each year for being awarded to the seniors who have received Gold Key and if they attend the Creative Studies, College of Creative Studies in the fall. Riley Barloni, Emma Peters, and Priscilla Rutledge are those that are qualified for that. So I want to give a shout out to Mrs. Luzak, the art teacher. If you haven't met her, and when you do, you know she is extremely dedicated to the program. Her students, she's a true leader in trying to inspire her students to become more than what they see they can become. I'd also like to thank the choir students who earned Division I excellent rating in all 4 of their performances at solo ensembles, which I believe was the last week. I think it was last week. Right? Yeah. Sometimes they start blending together between our board meetings. Right? Again, Mrs. Clore does a phenomenal job with that. Very excited for the students to earn Division I excellent rating, which is outstanding. And finally, January is School Board Appreciation Month. And I know you guys hate when I do this every year, but it's an opportunity for us to recognize you guys as board members. I'll just give you a little background for the listening audience. The month of January provides us a unique opportunity to acknowledge a special group of volunteers in education. It's School Board Appreciation Month. Across the state, there are more than 4,000 school board members who dedicate countless hours of hard work in improving education for Michigan children. Here in Richmond, we are lucky enough to have 7 board members who stepped up, volunteered to do this job to proudly serve our students, staff, and community. I know these board members take their job very seriously. They spend hours researching and looking at their board packets, having conversations and debating on very challenging and sometimes difficult issues. Today, more than ever, school board leaders are faced with an overwhelming charge to provide a quality education for our students. And finance often raise a heavy weight on that ability to do their job. In an unprecedented era of choice in education, school boards also are tasked with charting a course to provide long-term sustainable success for our students and our staff. So with that, I would like to thank this board on behalf of the students and staff of Richmond Community Schools for your dedication to the district. Your leadership, your ability to be objective without bias, personal agendas, your compassion is what makes you an outstanding board member. For that, we thank you. So in front of you, there is a bag. It's the one in front of you because some of the stuff is personal to you. So
Don't take someone else's bag.
in it, you'll see Lee Elementary School has some stuff in there. One of the things they put in there is a notebook that's titled, "I never dreamed to be a super cool board member, but here I am killing it." There's a charm with an inspirational message and some cherry salsa. There's a mug from the middle school with some chocolates and a Tim Hortons gift card. The high school, there is a lunch gift certificate for the Blue Devils Cafe, which will be opening very soon. There's a Richmond Blue Devil flag in there, so you can, if you go to competitions or the flagpole, hang it proudly. The food service has a chalkboard, which is really cool. You can write messages or write what's for dinner or tell someone what you want for dinner on the board. Transportation, there's also a coffee mug, which is unique for transportation to keep awake in the morning. And from the board office, you have the U.S. Richmond lapel pin. There's a box of chocolates, which is purchased on behalf of the Richmond Rotary, who does a lot of good for our district, as well as there's a set of business cards in there. Now, they aren't customized with phone numbers or anything, but if you're out at events such as the Michigan School Board Association, it's contact information. So for that, we appreciate all that you do, and I'm going to pass out a certificate of appreciation.
Congratulations.
Doug, thank you. Thank you very much.
Oh, look at that.
Thank you, Mr. Walmsley.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And that's all that I have.
Okay, anybody have any questions for Mr. Walmsley? Okay, next item on our agenda is our items of interest from the board. Try to mix this up every time, so Angela, I'm going to start with you.
I'd just like to say that I enjoyed our workshop. I know we mentioned that earlier, and I look forward to working together as a team. It was exciting for us to all. We did miss Danielle, but I know we'll get together again soon, and we were able to catch up after. But it's exciting. I feel like we have a good team going forward, and I'm excited for the year after our workshop. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Danielle?
I did meet with Angela and Margaret yesterday morning to go over the stuff that you guys talked about at the board workshop since I wasn't there, so that was good. And otherwise, I don't really have anything.
Thank you. Margaret?
I will echo Angela's comments. I am very encouraged after that workshop. There's something to be said when all different types of people sit at a table, and those that are new and those that are old share ideas, and we laughed and we had serious conversation, and I'm very encouraged.
That's it?
Yep.
Candace?
Same thing. I want to thank Angela and Margaret for setting that workshop up. It was very nice, and I feel very confident as well. And I've already, coming to today's meeting, seeing some of the changes, which was very nice to see, and look forward to the rest of the year. Thank you.
Sandy?
I don't have anything.
Thank you. Kelly?
Same thing about the meeting. I
how long were we there? 5 hours. And, initially going in, you're always like, oh my gosh, 5 hours on my Saturday. What am I going to feel like when I leave? And I felt like, oh my gosh, that was so awesome. And, we have a good team and we're ready to work forward and, start problem solving some things. I also wanted to say, and I don't know the name, Candy, you might know it. There's one mom that started a new appreciation Facebook thing, and it's amazing if you haven't seen that. Jessica's our first baby. I don't know if that's her. It is truly amazing, and I really love what you're doing and trying to spread the love and everything. And I just wanted to give you a shout out for that. Thank you for being a positive in the community. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you, Jessica.
Okay, we've all talked about our workshop, and I will agree with every comment that was made up here. I honestly feel after 3 years that we do have a good group that's willing to work together. Just so you know what we did at our workshop, we did a little icebreaker activity and really learned some interesting things about each other. We had some conversation about how do we conduct ourselves at a board meeting, what is our role as a Board of Education, how do we communicate as a Board of Education, and what should our board meetings actually look like, which is something that we have really worked on and are wanting to change. Each board member received a binder that had superintendent and board roles. We received board policy, the school's board policy and bylines, and then they also had the Open Meetings Act handbook that's published by our Attorney General, Dana Nessel. We all had homework for our next meeting that we are going to continue. I think the biggest piece that I felt from this group is that we've all made a commitment to continue to grow and to get educated and to try to do what's better for the students here and our faculty and our staff at Richmond. We do need to set a goals meeting, so after we get going here, we'll have to, or afterwards, we're going to have to talk about where we want to meet again. I would also like to thank Monsignor Halfpenny. He's the temporary administrator at St. Augustine Catholic Church, for his prayers and support through this difficult time. He did have, he addressed the anti-Semitism statement that was in our thread in yesterday's bulletin. So I know there was actually a prayer meeting this evening with several churches in the community that were getting together to pray for the situation. As a board, we all agreed during our workshop to have a student representative at our meeting, so I will be looking for 3 members who would like to conduct the, get a hold of the principal at the high school, arrange for the application, conduct some interviews, so that maybe not the next meeting, but the one after that, we will have a student representative present, and they will take the place where Mr. Walmsley's always telling about what the schools are doing. That will be now done by our student representative. So if anyone's interested in that on the board, please let me know before you leave this evening. Okay? And those are my comments. Next item on our agenda is public comments. I have some additional things that we as a board decided that we are going to change. Well, first off, you'll notice that public comments is now near the end of the meeting. This is to help streamline our meeting. Many public comments or questions are answered in previous parts of the meeting under the superintendent's update and legislative update or in items of interest from the board. So that's why we have it moved down at the end with the hope that we can answer some of your questions. Second, public comments is not a question and answer. I know a lot of people feel like they can get up here and that they're looking for an answer. It is not a question and answer time. We have a sign-in sheet on the podium. It is changed now, so you need to put your name and phone number down, and then there's a box to mark if you would like either Mr. Walmsley or myself to get back with you. So please, if you would like to speak with us, please mark that box. Third, we are no longer allowing a person to give their 3 minutes for another person to continue talking. You will have 3 minutes. If at that point you have more than that, I am asking, Mr. Walmsley's asking that you schedule an appointment to talk with us, and we will deal with whatever concerns that you have. And finally, I was told that I wasn't doing very good on the timer business. I now have a timer. Everyone will get an even 3 minutes so that no one feels like they're being cheated or cut short or whatever. It's really hard to do when you're taking notes. So anyway, we now have a clock that we're going to use during our 3 minutes. I will continue my practice of letting the community know what emails that I received between the last meeting and now. So since the last meeting, I received an email from a parent about positive solutions, changes, or how to advocate for our teachers. I emailed her back with some suggestions, and we've agreed to meet with Mr. Walmsley to further this conversation. I received another email from a member of the community regarding the superintendent's evaluation, his pay, and goals. I responded back to this person with the information requested. I replied to another parent wanting to know if our staff has had ALICE training, and the answer is yes. I responded back to her. They also provided some suggestions on how to help our communication process. Mr. Walmsley and I both replied back to an 8th grade parent about going virtual. I returned 2 emails to parents regarding board members' comments on social media. We talked at our meeting on how to handle ourselves and how to address things responding to social media. So we're going to see if we can get this straight. And my last comment is at the last public comments, we had a parent who came up and spoke about their child, and we had talked to their child without notifying them and had some communication issues. I felt we had a very good meeting. It was positive. We resolved, I believe, some of the issues. Some, I think, we're going to agree to disagree, agree as far as how we run our process. But they also did provide some suggestions, again, too, that we are going to be implementing or that we've already implemented. The only thing that I do need to clear up that was stated publicly and that was investigated is that Mr. Walmsley did not violate any of the board policies that were stated that evening. Okay, that's my report. Okay, so at this time, any member of the public may address the board. Please sign in, state your name, and put your phone number down. You'll have 3 minutes to address the board. Are there any public comments? Sorry, Dr. Ladd. You just hit start, and then we'll turn it. Okay.
Okay, well, good evening. I'm here on behalf of myself and the Michigan Center for Civics Education. As many of you probably know, every year I take students up for 2 very rigorous academic competitions. One in January up in Lansing, We the People competition, which is a constitutional competition where we give speeches and a lot of give and take. Mrs. Telter was there this year. She can attest to how much fun it is to watch our kids perform. And then in March every year we take our mock trial team down for a competition there, which also Mrs. Telter has been a number of times. And they're very rigorous, very, very, very difficult to do. But we've been there every year, Richmond High School every year for the last 20 years. We go to both competitions. And that came to the light of the Michigan Center because they realized that of all the high schools in the state of Michigan, Richmond's the only one that participates in both of those every year. Because they're very difficult. With all the curriculum stuff and everything, it's hard to do, but our kids do it, and our kids do it very well. So the Center for Civic Education wanted me to present some certificates myself here, one for Mr. Walmsley and one on behalf of the board to Ms. Michon, just to say thank you for your support of the civics education. And then I want to say thank you because I couldn't do it without your support, so I just wanted to give these to you.
Very much. Congratulations, too. And then 3 times. Okay, are there any other public comments?
I'm Jessica Romanowski, person who created the Facebook group, and I just wanted to say thank you. Thank you for showing up, and thank you to the teachers and staff for showing up every day for our kids, but also for Richmond PD. I know this isn't about them, but thank you for taking everything seriously and continuing every day to fight against the noise and just being here. It means a lot, and there's a lot of people who support you, and I just want you to know that we're here. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other public comments?
My name is Christina Turchi. Don't worry, I'm not here to attack anybody again. We hashed that out, and it was a very great conversation between me, Ms. Michon, and Ms. Walmsley. I think we accomplished a lot. But what I'm here about is, with all the threats that our school has endured in the last couple weeks, and a couple of them being actual students causing these threats, I want the school to kind of maybe think about what can we do to teach our students about the ramifications of making a school threat. I don't know if it's possible, but maybe reach out to Oxford and see if some of their students would be willing to come here and put on some type of assembly and speak to them. It's sometimes better for a student to hear from their peers than to hear from an adult. They connect more. They understand better. They use different type of language. Sometimes when an adult is speaking to you, it's like, okay, yeah, whatever. We don't really care what you have to say. So it's a possibility. I have a feeling some Oxford students would be willing to come out. I've seen them go out to Texas and spend time with the students in Uvalde after their terrible event. So if it's something that someone on this board could look into, I'd really appreciate it. And I think it should go for every single age in our district, not just high school, not just middle school, but all ages. They need to understand what can happen, whether it's a real threat or not a real threat. They need to understand it. I also just kind of want to speak about the whole social media thing. Parents go to social media because that's really our only avenue to speak about what's going on. And yes, we ask questions and we want answers. A lot of times parents just say those things because they hope that someone out there with the answers will respond. A lot of times when we message you guys, it takes a couple days. Parents want answers right away. I know that's not how life works, but that's how we are on social media. We want answers right away. We understand it doesn't happen. But the problem I have is we also see board members responding to things and being disrespectful to community members. You all as well need to handle yourselves better on social media. And I know Ms. Michon already stated that you guys spoke about it, but you need to hear it from us as well. That you all need to hold yourselves accountable for what you say. We need to hold ourselves accountable for what we say. We all need to work together. This district cannot survive with just the board. It's going to survive with everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, okay. Anybody else have any public comments? Being no further public comments or no further business, the board will adjourn.